Hello, hello. What is going on, everybody? Hello, hello. Gerald, Judas, KSH. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but KSH. DS, yo. I'm just gonna say yo. Watch this. Free to play noob. How's it going, everybody? Christopher Young, Winston Yuri. How's it going? So, this happened 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. Thursday was the early release from the Black ISO market. You know, I should probably put a pinned message. Got Glad from the Black ISO Paragon Crystal. Just so if people, people don't have to ask where he came from. Liked my Abyss video with him. Thanks, Yuki. Yeah, he can. A rank 3 could do it. A rank 3 could totally do it. Rank 2, that was the best attempt I could get. That was the best attempt I could get. There's so many things that have to go properly in that final phase that and displacement is just way too toxic of an ability, and his unstoppable scaling with missing health is also really toxic. You know, there was a reason there's only 9 characters that have ever soloed the Abyss Collector. You know, I'm fortunate that I can say I have contributed to 7 of those. But even then, 7, 9 in total out of, over 260 characters. It's not a very high success rate. So he was close, but not enough. He couldn't sustain or handle that final 10% well enough to take care of business. But regardless, I'm happy that he was able to do 97%. That's pretty damn decent. Who are the 9? So not counting myself, it would be Aegon and Strife. That would be from Kurt and Suida. And then counting myself, Apocalypse, Professor X, Guillotine 2099, Kate Bishop, Shuri, Wong, and Iron Man Infinity War. That should be 7. So, Gladiator. Let's talk about Gladiator for a second. Just right off the bat, he didn't land well in the community's perspective. He landed poorly. And it's an interesting conversation to have, because it seems like people are regretting not voting for White Tiger. And that's a valid feeling to have. But is Gladiator bad, or is Gladiator mid? No. I'm going to be candid up front, and I'm going to tell you that in my personal opinion, I don't think Gladiator is the best character of 2023. I don't think he's really even close to the best character of 2023. I don't think he's the best Summoner's Choice champion that's been released. Hercules, obviously, best character in the game. Quicksilver, a very solid, well-rounded, balanced, but excellent in his primary matchups, Science Champion. And then Gladiator, he's still new, but I feel like the initial perception of Gladiator was very poor, and this stream is going to be about seeing if those claims that have been made about Gladiator have any foundation. Because in the past 48 hours, 72 hours, I've been playing Gladiator basically nonstop against the hardest opponent in the entire game. Not to mention I also used him against Cull Obsidian, and I've used him throughout like the Thronebreaker EQ for, a fight here or there. But this is going to be a testing stream of realistic Gladiator gameplay in a bunch of different environments. Mine's rank 4, low SIG. The SIG is important for persistent quests. So the SIG is basically, let me rephrase. Part of the SIG is irrelevant in Battlegrounds. The first half of his signature ability is irrelevant in Battlegrounds. So if you're looking to use him in Battlegrounds, you don't need the first half of the SIG. The second half of the SIG is beneficial for Battlegrounds, but I don't even think it's a deal breaker. The second half of the SIG is quite important, and if you noticed in the Collector video, his damage jumped significantly after using a special 2, and that's because from the Awakened ability, while you have your Vigilance, all of your hits deal passive, true damage, so they ignore armor and resistance. So your damage over time effects will still be subject to your resistances, but all of your damage from basic, heavy, and special attacks is bypassing all of the armor and resistances on your opponent. So physical resistance, high armor rating like a Doom or an infamous Iron Man. While this Vigilance is active, you completely bypass all of the defensive resistances for contact, not for damage over time effects. And I think that's really important and something that was overlooked by a lot of people in his kit. This ability right here is one of the only reasons that he was able to do so well against the Collector, is because the base damage that he's dealing from his heavy attack and special attacks are significantly increased because of this Vigilance having that true sense, or that true damage. So right off the bat, I want to make it very clear that I think his Awakened ability is important, and if you acquire a Gladiator, he doesn't necessarily need to be SIG 200, but you want him at least SIG 1. So right off the bat, from the get-go, you have this passive true damage from having the Vigilance on the special 2. That doesn't scale with signature level. It's just, boom, you get him Awakened, you throw a special 2, and all of your hits now are dealing true damage. So right off the bat, I want to make sure that everybody understands that's very strong. That's not something that is typically given to a character just straight up, like just true damage. It's not as common as other abilities in the Cosmic class, like, a Power Gain or Aptitude, things like that. So true damage, very strong. And on top of it, the true damage is tied to a Vigilance, so he also bypasses Miss, and it's a long Vigilance. So the Vigilance, it's not this Silver Surfer level of Vigilance where it only lasts for a few seconds and it's hard to maintain. No, it's pretty easy to maintain his Vigilance. So right there, I just wanted to make that point clear from the get-go, but I want to go into the rotation and how I use Gladiator, how I have been using Gladiator. His rotation, it's simple-esque. It's very easy to lose a lot of your confidence and lose a lot of your momentum. I'm going to be using the word confidence not as in reference to me and losing my confidence as a player, but in reference to the actual ability that he has called confidence. It's very easy to lose that confidence buildup, and it's not as fun to build him back up. Let's say you get clipped by a special because the opponent threw a special during your Intimidate. That sucks, and I think one of the biggest pain points about Gladiator is his core rotation is solely based around the AI cooperating with your Intimidate and not retaliating while it's active. So if that happens, right? So let's say I throw a heavy attack, I land my Intimidate, and I go to hit the opponent's block while they have a bar of power. There is a non-zero chance that the opponent will throw that special, and I lose all of my confidence, basically. Especially if I just started my ramp up, I go from maybe 8 or 10 to 2, 1, or 0. So that's not something that I necessarily enjoy about him, but you can avoid that situation if you build up prior to the opponent gaining a bar of power. So how you want to start off, so let's just get into it. How you want to start off with Gladiator is ideally throw a heavy attack, right? Dash back and then hit the opponent's block, gain some confidence. Throw another heavy attack, do the same thing. The dash back basically guarantees that the opponent will hold their block and not try and do a dash back. Beta special, and now since you have your unblockable, you can just combo into the opponent. So now I'm maxed out at 24 confidence. Throw a heavy, get the unblockable into special 2, dealing true damage because of my vigilance, and I place some pretty decent incinerates. So now at this point, it's just maintaining your confidence, and if you can get hits in during the special attacks of the opponent, great. If not, don't worry about it. It's not something worth risking. Ooh, nice voice track there. It's not something worth risking. For longer fights, you can go for the special 3 to increase your confidence limit. And see right there, perfect example. He was intimidated, but he still threw his special. That's not really supposed to happen. I know it's not a guaranteed, oh, they're going to turtle up, but you would hope that a character whose rotation is solely based on Intimidate functioning the way it's supposed to. If it doesn't function the way it's supposed to, you lose so much momentum with Gladiator, it's not even funny. So now my confidence limit has been increased by 4 because of the special 3. And the signature ability, it adds 8 more potential confidence limit increases if you finish 2 fights above a certain threshold of health. It starts at a high threshold, but it goes down to less than 50% at SIG 200. Another important thing to notice is above 12 confidence when you get the knockdown from the heavy attack, if you throw a special while the unblockable is active, the special itself will deal additional physical burst damage, and the unblockable is paused. So that was okay. That wasn't the best showcase. This is a higher health pool, and I don't think he's going to do that well with higher health pools. I think more Battlegrounds War is where he's going to thrive. He does require a little bit of a ramp up, though. So even then, he needs a little bit of time to get going. I don't know how much time, because Battlegrounds is over. Battlegrounds won't be back until next Wednesday. So I'll be able to test him again in Battlegrounds once that comes back. But right now, we don't have a way to test him in a Battleground setting aside from going to fight, the Deadpool, or the Venom the Duck, which we can go do right now. So I just want to get a general perception. I already see a lot of it in the chat right now, but Gladiator, yay or nay? I just want like a yes or a no. How are we feeling about Gladiator? Yes or no? Just from everything that has already been published and put out in terms of Gladiator content, how does everybody feel, yes or no? Just binary, yes, no, good, bad. What's up, Static? Okay, 1 yes. So far, 4 no's. Okay, a few more yeses. Think yay, but he needs some quality of life changes for his rotation. Good to see you, Aiden. Thanks for stopping by. I think that's a fair request. What's up, Awesome Ghost? He's good, but nothing too crazy. I've seen that a lot as well, that he's good, but he's not fantastic. Not a huge fan personally, but I feel like with a tune-up, he could be much better. What would you give him in a tune-up balancing scenario? Let's say 3 months from now, balancing update comes out, Gladiator is getting a tune-up. What are you doing to fix him? I'm voting present because I'm just whelmed, not over or underwhelmed, just whelmed. That's very fair. Very fair. Personally think Vox is better than him. Okay. Feel he should have more immunities or resistance to Incinerate and Cold Snap would make sense with his character. True, true. I think the immunities argument is fair. I think he should have some type of immunity to a damage over time effect, you know, whether that be poison or resistance to a poison. Yeah. Making a champ rely too much on the AI when it's so unpredictable is not a good idea. I think that's kind of the overarching consensus of Gladiator from the entire community, and I think that's probably the most valid point. I think there are other valid points that have been made, but when you talk about exactly what you just said and what I iterated at the beginning of the stream, his entire kit is roughly based around the idea of I am going into this fight with the preconceived notion of Intimidate functioning as it should, which means it makes the opponent defensive, it allows me to hit into their block and dominate the beginning of the fight. And when that doesn't work, it feels so terrible. Like, perfect example, if you use Valkyrie and you use her heavy attacks to get it off and Intimidate, and the opponent doesn't back off, you've essentially just wasted all of your Pierce and Bulwark buffs and thrown a special that's dealing roughly, you know, half of the damage it could have dealt if the Intimidate actually functioned the way it's described to function. Now, again, I know it's not a guaranteed the opponent's going to block, but more likely than not, it should function in the way of intimidated opponents block. Intimidated opponents should not throw specials. They should not attack. I know it will happen sometimes, and sometimes is not an issue. But for the amount of times it's been happening recently, it doesn't feel like a sometimes. It feels like a 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 times the opponent's going to retaliate while Intimidate's active. And that's not fun. Seaton made a phenomenal point the other day. There's no standout burst yellow, white, or red numbers that you can point to and say, look, he has damage. When ramped, it's constantly solid numbers. I think that is an excellent point. There is nothing that you can put in a thumbnail and say, wow, look at this damage. His white numbers are fine. His burst damage, you know, this is a 6-star rank 4. He's dealing anywhere from 11 to 14,000 burst damage. That's good, but you can only, in certain matchups, you're only going to be able to get that once or twice after every special. And granted, that's decent, but in the grand scheme of things, that opportunity is only available if the opponent is throwing specials and you're able to counter those specials safely. Fuse rebalance, I want to see him not lose confidence while unstoppable. I almost swore there. One of the things, there's two things that I immediately, and I'll finish your message in a second, Aiden, but there's two things that, from testing him specifically against the Abyss Collector, but just in general, two things that I would immediately want to see changed. I want confidence to not be lost while unstoppable. I think that's a huge, huge change that would really increase his value. And I think he should be above a certain confidence threshold, or like maybe have it be a double clause where at above 24 confidence while unstoppable, immune to stun. And not just stun from champions, I mean stun in general. I think him being immune to stun from champions is taking something that was interesting when implemented with Moondragon and making it worse. I think the immune to stun from champions is a negative, because there's plenty of nodes and plenty of interactions that can stun you that aren't based on champions. If you get stunned by a champion, something went wrong. If you get stunned by a node, that's probably just a node doing what the node is supposed to do. Perfect example, encroaching stun. You know, there's also a node which is just straight up stun. Like if the opponent hits you, they have a chance to stun you. That's not a champion, that's a node. So he's not immune to that stun. And in Abyss, he's only immune to the final stun on special attacks. Which means if you get clipped by a special attack in Abyss or Labyrinth and you get hit by a stun, he's not immune to that stun. So that's something that I would immediately change, is just above a certain confidence threshold, he's immune to stun. I think getting hit by specials and losing confidence, that's fine. It makes sense. If you get hit by a special, you shouldn't be rewarded by keeping your confidence. But I think the unstoppable, you should not lose confidence while you're unstoppable. And he should be immune to stun in general, above a certain level of confidence. I forget, I think it's above 24. Yeah, personal unstoppable buffs are paused during the opponent's specials. While this pause is active, right, so it's while the pause is active on the unstoppable, Gladiator is immune to the opponent's stun effects. I think that should just be Gladiator is immune to stun effects, because it's only happening while the unstoppable is active. So I take back what I said about with the stun happening during the unstoppable, because it already does. The biggest the gripe that I have is it's the opponent's stun effects, not stun. I think it should be, while this pause is active, Gladiator is immune to stun effects. I think that would just be such a great and not overpowered change, because how many characters in the past year and a half have come out with just straight up stun immunity? Like Spot is immune to stun while he's untouchable. Atuma, you can't stun Atuma. He's going to purify it immediately. There's no clause there for champion stuns. It's just stuns. Let me do a few fights here just to show off some gameplay so I'm not just talking about him. So this is a Battlegrounds setting. So again, you want to start with a heavy attack, dash back, so the opponent does not, retaliate right here. And then what you can do is throw another heavy attack while the Intimidate is still active. And then boom, right there, you're at 20 confidence. Throw a heavy, get the Intimidate, and now, before the unblockable falls off, throw a special, now you have passive true damage. You're dealing the burst. Throw another heavy attack. He throws a special. Eventually, there's a special. Dash in, throw a special. See, that's another thing right there. You can throw the heavy attack, they're intimidated, but they dash back and then you miss the special. Kitty stun immune while phased. Valk stun immune with Bulwark. Kate Purify stun. Yeah. Quicksilver evades from stun. That's not stun from champions, that's just stun. Kitty is stun immune. Valkyrie is stun immune. Why does Gladiator have to get a worse version of stun immunity? I don't think it's, like, given that he's not as... How do I phrase this? I don't think it makes sense, with all of the interactions that stun has outside of champion abilities, to give a champion immunity to stun from the opponent under such specific criteria. I don't think it really makes sense. That's probably my biggest gripe with Gladiator, is the stun from champions. I think that's just a worse version of stun immunity. No, I don't think. It is a worse version of stun immunity. And I think changing that immunity to stun effects, because again, look at the clause. For this immunity to even trigger, look at what has to be lined up, right? So at Ultra Confidence, 24 or more confidence buffs. Personal Unstoppable buffs are paused during the opponent's special attacks. So right off the bat, you need to have thrown a special 1, and the opponent needs to throw a special while your Unstoppable is still active. Your special 1 Unstoppable is only 4 seconds. Right? So it's a 4-second Unstoppable. There's a 4-second window for your opponent to throw a special attack while your Unstoppable buff is still active. For all of this to line up to where he's stun immune, the opponent has to throw a special attack while you're above 24 confidence, your Unstoppable is still active, and you have to get hit by the special. But if you get hit by a special, you lose your confidence. So it's such an interesting, like, chain of events to where if you don't have an Awakened Gladiator, you really can't take advantage of this, especially if you're going into a special attack that's multiple hits. You know, you're trying to attack during the opponent's special with your Unstoppable. But if you keep losing your confidence, you're not going to be stun immune by the end of that. And if there's a stun on the end of a hit, you're getting stunned. And if it's a stun that's not a champion stun, you're getting stunned regardless. I want to love Gladiator, but I can't love him any more than I like him. Yeah, I was mentioning all stuns, Static. Gladiator is, I believe he's the first character to specifically call out stun immunity from champion stuns. It's from the opponent's stun effects, right? Because I can tell you right now that while I had my Unstoppable in the Abyss, you can also go and watch the video, I got hit by a special attack. I was getting stunned by that special attack until the very end when I was immune to stun, because the Collector Special 1 stuns you at the end. So I was immune to that stun. But every other stun, nope. So, I mean, what's the point if I'm getting hit, losing all my confidence? It just, I don't know. That's one of my biggest gripes with Gladiator. Alright, let's keep doing some fights here. So again, like I said, the rotation, start with a heavy attack, back up, hit the opponent's block. You can usually get 4 hits in, do another heavy attack, back up. And see, I went for the additional heavy there, and I didn't get it. That was on me. There was no need for me to go for that, but it's just a quick way to speed up your ramp. So now I'm at 19 confidence. .27 confidence, 28, so I've maxed out my confidence now. I'm going to throw this special too. I can't get the heavy attack off, unfortunately, for the unblockable, but I still get the passive true damage. Hit here, that's fine. Throw a heavy attack, light. Make sure he can't dash. There's some cold snaps. You can use the Unstoppable for an easy opening. That wasn't terrible. That was a minute for 200,000 health. No class advantage. Yeah, his damage is not bad. I don't think damage is his problem. I think quality of life issues could be fixed. That would make him a lot better. He's got plenty of damage. I think damage is fine on Gladiator. I don't think he's missing any type of damage. Every type of number that he has, white, yellow, red, is decent enough to where when you combine them, it's a pretty solid amount of damage. Nothing to really complain about. Doesn't Adam do these fights in 30 seconds? Yeah. I think he's good enough. He doesn't have to be better. I think he's good. Yeah, I think he's good, but I don't think he's phenomenal. I think he's good. I think he's very good. I think he's a solid overall character. I think he's got some solid utility with the cold snap preventing the evade, easy openings with stun and unstoppable and unblockable, decent overall damage, 2 different types of damage, true damage with the vigilance, which is also a vigilance, so he bypasses miss. I think he's a solid overall character, but there's some quality of life things that I would like to see changed. I'm trying to think of a place that I can go to just test him. Like a generic path. Where can you really use him, though? I don't know. Well, why should he be phenomenal? That was just, an adjective I threw out there. I'm not saying he needed to be phenomenal. But I think his kit could come together in a more cohesive way. I think there's some clauses that could be changed, really harping on the immunity to stun in general rather than the opponent's stun effects. I think that would be a big change and would make him more viable for certain content. Like, think of this exact scenario. Encroaching stun. You have your unstoppable active, the opponent throws a special attack. Encroaching stun's about to trigger. Usually you're going to get hit, but if he was immune to stun in general, while that specific clause was active above 24 confidence with the unstoppable buff during the opponent's special, it's paused, you're not getting stunned. I think that would be great. How about EOP? Not really any great fights for him in there. Yeah, I can't think of a single fight. I mean, he'd be like fine for Bishop, but you wouldn't be able to use any special attacks because they're all energy damage. He's very anti-class wheel, like John is saying here. You can't Tiger him if you push him to special 2 because of the vigilance. He has that Embolden, which makes him immune to Nullify, Stagger, Fate Seal, so that's that's right off the bat anti-Mystic counter. I believe that's above 12 confidence. He gets that Embolden passive. Yeah, on special activation. This is just the generic path, right? Yeah. Yeah, he has solid utility when it comes to, buff ability actually can't really be reduced. But again, that's offensively. You can't really benefit from a lot of those defensively, aside from the immunity to neutralize because of his buff ability accuracy being higher. He doesn't gain the Embolden unless he has 12 confidence, but his buff ability accuracy is 300% because he gains an additional 200%. So at his base, his buffs have 100% ability accuracy, but he gains an additional 200%. So he has 300% buff ability accuracy. So somebody like Domino is incapable of altering his buff ability accuracy at all. There is no way she can alter his buff ability accuracy, and that's that. His other abilities can be altered, but his buffs, so his confidence buffs, likely the dexterity buff, cannot be altered. Resistances, not immunities, that scale with confidence. I like that. A stronger Intimidate and max confidence. Max confidence stun immune would make him a potential defender. Yeah, I think two things you said right there. Resistance that scales with confidence. I think that would be a great idea. And then the max confidence stun immunity clause is another one that just harping on that. A stronger Intimidate, I guess a potency increase. There's not really at least I don't know of a way that you can increase the potency of Intimidate except for the reduction of block proficiency. Unless there's some tech under the hood that increases even further the opponent's likelihood to block, which I guess that's possible, but I think two things you said right there, resistance, scaling with confidence, and the stun immunity that I was talking about. I think that would be great. I don't think damage is a problem. I think damage, he's got plenty of damage. Like, that's some pretty good damage. And then you have those incinerates that are dealing a significant amount of damage over time. Granted, this is Blade, so the duration is reduced, but the point being, his damage is fine. You know, his damage is high. High enough to where I don't think that would be something in need of changing. I just think there's some quality of life quality of life adjustments that could be made that would help him significantly. One thing I do like is he has access to an evade counter on top of his vigilance because of the cold snap from his special one, and that also gives you an unstoppable, which is great to have. See, right there, perfect example. The opponent is intimidated, throws a special attack. That just feels really bad. Yeah, his damage over time is strong. But right there, see one little AI, one little instant of the AI not cooperating with Intimidate, and the entire flow of the fight got thrown off. Yeah, ideally you want to get off your 2 heavy attacks while they're below a bar of power, so you can safely get to 20 confidence. That's a special 3. That was on me. That was me being a little silly goose. Alright, we're gonna die anyway, it doesn't matter. That was me not managing the power properly, but regardless. Can Wiccan take him down? No. Wiccan's okay. Wiccan will work. I wouldn't say he's the best option. Guardian has Intimidate? I don't believe so. I can check right now, but I don't think Guardian has Intimidate. No, Guardian has Taunt, not Intimidate. His ramp up is fairly simple. It's easy to get to as long as you approach the fight properly So I'll show you, because people can be cycling in and out. So I'll just keep showing the ramp up. There's not a lot of places to test him right now. There just aren't. His ramp up, it's pretty simple. It's very easy to get to a high amount of confidence early. Throw a heavy, dash back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ideally go for another parry and another heavy attack. Now they're against their own wall. Now you're at 12 confidence. Right? Counter their special, throw another heavy. Now you're unblockable, so you can just hit them. Boom. Right there, 20 confidence. And now you can just keep hitting their block. And congratulations, you're fully ramped up. That was, 20 seconds, maybe. And now, while your unblockable is still active, you can throw a pretty big special too. And just rinse and repeat. Each incinerate is dealing roughly 600 damage per second. So do the math there. That is 2,400 damage every single second from the incinerates. It's not bad. And then you're essentially getting double damage if you throw a special 1 or special 2 while your unblockable is active, because if you throw your special with the unblockable active, it pauses and you deal an additional burst of 90% physical damage. So it's basically double damage without actually being double damage. So that burst right there is 11,909. I want to see that one more time. There goes my let's see right here. Confidence gone. In just as fast as we got our confidence has now left us. It's 4 incinerates. 6 times 4 is 24. But right there, you saw in a matter of seconds, we went from 24 confidence to 6. It's very easy to lose all of your damage. It's very easy. Also, special 3 while unblockable, not a bad idea. Deals significant amount of damage. You're good, Rudy. You're totally good, man. Totally good. No worries. If the opponent is intimidated, Gladiator cannot lose his confidence. Good change. The Intimidate runs out, so you would have to be getting hit, and the Intimidate would have to pause somehow. Alright, heavy, dash back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Heavy, now they're in their corner. See, right there is a perfect example. They dash back. That feels kind of lame, doesn't it? Doesn't matter though, because we're at 20, and now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 confidence. Fully ramped up in 9 hits. Throw a big special 2. We get our additional confidence limit increased, so now that burst is dealing over 12,000 damage. We're also dealing true damage because of the vigilance. And you can just cycle this. This is his core damage loop right here. In a longer fight, you want to go for the special 3 to gain your additional confidence limit increase. But for fights like this, it's not as necessary, because this is all you're going to be doing. Throwing a heavy, throwing a special after the heavy, and melting them down. And if they're immune to incinerate, you can either opt to go for the cold snap, or you can still throw the heavy into the special too. You're dealing true damage, so it doesn't matter. Still a significant amount of damage. Big special 2 is a slight overstatement. Okay, fair point. You can throw a decent special 2. Is that better, Andy? I loved your war video, by the way, Andy. I was laughing at that the whole morning. That was hysterical. That took longer than my rank for Iron Man. Yeah. Iron Man's pretty good. Iron Man is pretty good. You know what we can do? I don't know if this is gonna help Gladiator at all, but we can do a little comparison here. Non-class advantage fights. Again, I don't know if this is this is gonna portray Gladiator in the best of ways. Buffed Iron Man is so good. Alright, let's do that. The goal with buffed Iron Man is to get to a special 2 at around 10 to 11 armors. 11 is ideal, 10 is also fine. Any day now, Winter Soldier. Alright, we got hit, but it's fine. We sacrificed health for the sake of the rotation. So now, we just throw some special ones. And he goes boom. The perfect block. So strong. I'm slowly getting my Iron Man sigged up. He's almost sig 60 now. But I mean, look at this damage. I don't have to parry again. I mean, the 15 pauses. What's going to happen? You know, if I go make a kettle of tea, it's still going to be paused. Throw the relic, get some big boy relic damage. And that's all she wrote. Heavy, back up. Back up. If you want to guarantee that they aren't being silly. See, right there. Intimidated. Through a special. And this is Realm of Legends AI. You would think that Realm of Legends, they're going to be more likely to block. But no. You can also slow down your combo to ensure you get the unblockable back. And once you have that that was me. That was me being silly. This is also still me being silly. Once you have that vigilance, you just want to start hitting the opponent. Because you're getting that true damage. And you're bypassing all of their resistances. So your damage goes up by a significant amount. You know, in comparison to what significant is for Gladiator. You can also throw a relic right after the special if your unblockable has duration left on it. So that was 1 second slower than Iron Man. 1 second slower. Bring back Ultron videos? Oh man, I haven't made a video on Ultron. I mean, Ultron videos were mostly associated with Fiker Miker because he's got a 6-star rank 4 Ultron. I say he as if he's another human. All right, let's do a little poll action. Who do you prefer? Buffed Iron Man? Gladiator. I feel like the answer is intuitive, but I just gotta throw it out there. These AI control debuffs are becoming useless. AI barely plays according to the effects now. Yeah, Scorpion, that is something that I have noticed and have been noticing over the past few months. That Intimidate, Infuriate. I feel like Infuriate is not as subject to the criticism, but Intimidate and Taunt, 100%. I feel like Infuriate, pretty true to the name. If you got an opponent that's infuriated, unless something is going wrong, and believe me, it's happened before, using Herc, where something goes awry, and they just start throwing light attacks. But most of the time, like to say 9 out of 10 times, Infuriate works the way it should work. Intimidate and Taunt, 50-50. I think that's a fair claim, 50-50, maybe 60-40. But again, in the 40% that you're missing, a lot of the time, that's the 40% that matters. I prefer Gladiator, but hope he gets tweaked. That's preference, though. Doesn't mean I think Iron Man needs to be tuned up at all. I think Iron Man is fantastic. I love buffed Iron Man. I had so much fun testing him the other day, and the chat was in such great spirits and really enjoying the Iron Man that they have in their roster that has now become this solid, strong, potent tech character. Three-legged stool sent over 5. Dude, first super chat. Thank you so much for making it's such an honor to be your first super chat. Thank you so much. Also got Kate Bishop to rank 4, Sig 200, starting to feel torn about ascending her or Herc first. Well, let me just tell you right now, three-legged stool. I'll be your fourth leg for a second, if you'll allow me to. I am ascending Kate Bishop. Not even thinking twice about it. My first 6-star ascension will be Kate Bishop. I love Kate Bishop. She's my favorite character in the entire game. At least right now, currently. Easily my favorite 2023 champion. And I have absolutely no qualms about ascending her over any other character. I was thinking about APOC and Quicksilver over Kate, but I enjoy using Kate way too much to ascend even APOC, who I just, APOC is one of the 4 pillars of my channel. You know, he is the reason I have a lot of the acclaim in Abyss that I do. It is him, being the first character I used to solo the Abyss Collector, and at a rank 4 6-star level. Crazy. So APOC, it was really between APOC and Kate, but I use Kate more than I use APOC nowadays, and I'll happily ascend APOC down the line, but Kate's got to go first. Three-legged stools, thank you so much for the 5. Now, speaking of Ascension, little detour here. I've already made 3 5-star Ascensions. Jessica Jones, Magic, and Herc. Magic, pretty self-explanatory. Jessica Jones, I don't have her as a 6-star, and I thought she'd be fun. And Herc, if I ever want to run Herc in 2 places at one time, got an Ascended Herc, just to have him. Okay, I can end this poll here. 76% buffed Iron Man. That is staggering. Yeah, that's something. Static, I don't know if I read or remember reading what you said about Gladiator. How do you feel about him? I value your opinion. I see you all the time in Brian's stream, so I know you're somebody of a worthy insight. Did you end up picking Gladiator up, or are you just basing your thoughts around gameplay? Not going to pull Chris's for him, but wouldn't be mad if I got him. I have the 5-star from pre-release. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think you'll be tuned and will be good in future content. Okay. So if you were to tune him, what would you tune up? We've gotten a lot of different perspectives and inputs from a lot of different people, so I'm curious as to what you would say. What's up, God of Thunder? Torn between Roblin, OG Iron Man, or Hood for my first Ascension. All 3 are 6-star rank 5 Sig 200. Dude, 6-star rank 5 Sig 200 Roblin. If I could give you a firm handshake, I would do that. Much respect. That's a tough one. I mean, who do you use the most? That's what I would say is your go-to option for Ascension. Let's just look at him to end the stream. I'm really disappointed he's a bust for BG's defense. I would like to see him tuned in that direction. Okay. That's a different take from everybody else. I think that's valid. That's fair, especially for somebody who likes Battlegrounds as much as yourself. I don't think he's supposed to be a defender, but I can understand the disappointment with him having really no defensive value if you understand how to play around his kit. But then again, a lot of characters suffer from that. If you read, you can counter them. So, kind of a moot point. What's up, Fried Cheese Curd? I was tried on Daredevil Hell's Kitchen Special 1. So, we could, yeah, but again, he loses confidence while he's struck, except against the final hit of special attacks. So you need to have confidence ramped up in order to sacrifice confidence to deal damage during the opponent's specials. And the only way you get any increased confidence is your special 3, which gives you an increase of 4, and that you can have that unawakened. And from the awakened ability, you get an additional max increase of 8. So in total, you can go from 24 to 36 at max confidence. Daredevil's going to purify the Intimidate, yeah. So you're not even going to benefit from ramping your confidence aside from landing heavy attacks. Intimidate needs to be fixed 100%. Completely agree. Completely agree. Because we've had, in this stream alone, 3 or 4 instances where the opponent is intimidated and they throw a special attack. I don't know if you heard people screaming outside of my dorm, but today's game day, so I will likely not be going because, boy, how riveting does some accounting studying sound. Also, macro. A little bit of calc, too. But yeah, I don't know. This guy. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him. Let's look at him in comparison to the other 2023 champions. So I've got quite a few of them as 6 stars. I just got Lady Deathstrike, so I'm done with this featured. I wasn't recording it because I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, I just got Lady Deathstrike. Very happy to have her. She'll be going up to at least rank 3. I'm a big Lady Deathstrike fan. I do hope that she gets a little bit of a tune-up in terms of how her rupture scales, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, let's look. Okay. I'm going to just go down the line for who I have ranked up. We're going to go one at a time here. This is how we can close off the stream. All right? So are you with me, chat? Are you with me? We're going to go one champion at a time, and it's going to be yay or nay. So yay is you think they're better than Gladiator. Nay is you think they're worse than Gladiator. And then if you can just put, undecided or NA if you think they're about the same. So yay, this character is better than Gladiator. B or undecided or just an NA if you think they're around the same, and then nay if you think Gladiator is better. Before we start though, Static with $1, thank you, dude. Confidence builds should have a direct relationship to how Intimidate works. At max confidence, medium dashing attacks should stun opponents being too afraid to move. That's such an interesting concept. Did you bring that up to Brian? He was streaming last night, right? Did you bring that up to Brian? I wonder how he would feel about that. That's a very interesting concept. I wonder how that would play out. Yeah, I like that, Static. I think that's interesting. I don't know how that would work with his stun, like his other stuns built into his kit, but maybe like at max confidence, his medium attacks are passively unblockable or something like that because you're getting that opening because they're too afraid to block, so you're unblockable, or there's a crushed passive. I don't know. Okay, but regardless, let's go down the line here. All right, we're starting off. Okay, Kate Bishop, yay, same, nay. Is Kate Bishop better than Gladiator? Around the same as Gladiator or worse? We're just going to go down the line. Okay, thank you all for saying the correct answer, which is obviously yay. No dig to Gladiator, but yeah, sorry, I'm not, even I'm going to say, yeah, Kate's better. Kate's my girl, 100%. Yeah, I think she's better than Gladiator. Okay, this next one, I think it will also be pretty intuitive, but Absorbing Man. Yay, same, nay. Ironically, 2 DLL champions, right next to each other. Yay, okay, yeah, clearly. Okay, well, let's move on. All right, a little more of a controversial pick here. I like this character, but I'm curious to see. I'm going to put the whole top row as a yay. Okay, I think that's... You know what? Okay, I do want to ask about Shocker. Just to break it up so I can understand, I'm going to just type Shocker, yay, same, nay. Okay, let's do Shocker, and then we'll move on to the bottom row and start the comparison there. So Shocker, how do we feel about Shocker? Not a lot of people like Shocker, at least not a lot of people that I know about like Shocker. I adore Shocker. I am so excited he's getting buffed. I thought he was great, but now that he's getting buffed, oh baby, I can't tell you how excited I am for Shocker to get a buff. Okay, Shocker, I see some nay, I see some yay, I see some same, some more nay, some more nay, some same. Okay, so this is a lot more. I kind of figured that Shocker would be more of a split decision because not everybody likes Shocker. Okay, that's very fair. Let's move on. Zemo. I'm just going to type the name. Zemo. So all under Zemo, what are we thinking? Yay, same, nay. This one also seems pretty intuitive. Really? There's some nays compared to Zemo. I would have never guessed. I mean, that could just be for shits and giggles, but yeah, Zemo I think is better than Gladiator for sure. Yeah, mostly use polls. Yeah, I could do that. I'd just be making a lot of polls. All right, for the next few, we can do polls. I'm not even going to touch on future Ant-Man because I know that's going to be a yay. Okay, let's do Glad and Cassie. Is Gladiator better than Gladiator? Oh, that's the age-old question. That is the age-old question. Gladiator or Cassie? Really not looking good for Gladiator. Cassie is winning by a substantial margin. Okay, we can end the poll here. Cassie clearly wins. Okay, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm curious to see how people respond to this one. So, Glad and Moondragon. This one I am curious to see how people respond to Gladiator or Moondragon. Well, this one's close. This one's much closer than I would almost say it's not closer than I thought it would be. I think this is around what I would have expected. It's dead even right now. Gladiator is ahead by a little bit. So this is the first instant where Gladiator is winning or is tied, basically. It's 50-50. I'm going to call it a wash. So they're around the same. Okay, this is going to be another interesting one. Glad or Vision. Curious as to what people think of Viv. And this is pre-buff Viv. Viv is getting buffed, and her buff is actually looking really good. Man, I feel so bad for Gladiator. Genuinely so bad. He hasn't won a single poll. He hasn't won a single poll. Okay, we don't have to do Vox. We don't have to do Photon. Kindred is... no, I mean, there's no way Gladiator is the worst champion of 2023. I mean, is he... What about Sandman? Okay, how about this? Gladiator versus Sandman. People used to think Doom was garbage too. Yeah, very true. I don't think Gladiator is bad. I just think the 2023 bar is high. Most champions from 2023 are very good. Okay, Gladiator's winning this one. But you gotta remember, Sandman's getting buffed. So Sandman could, in a month's time or 2 months' time, that could flip on its head. Oh, man. I want to be perfectly clear that I like Gladiator. I think he's a strong character with decent utility, decent damage, and a decent overall kit. I just believe that a few quality of life changes could take him from good to great, fantastic range, you know? Okay, Gladiator wins the poll against Sandman. Yeah, I think Photon's better than Gladiator. Kindred offensively is not as good as Gladiator, but Kindred is such a good defender that it makes up for his lack of offensive prowess. I don't think I'm missing anybody from 2023, right? Yeah, I have everybody in some capacity. Yeah, well, ooh, that's an interesting one to go. Okay, let's see. Final one. To end the stream here, because I gotta go eat some lunch. I feel like this one is also pretty intuitive. Oh boy, poor Gladiator. Man, he's good. He's a good character, but I can't help but agree that most of the 2023 champions, at least that are showing on the screen right now, I would consider better than him. Why was it even a poll? I don't know. Just for the sake of it, for the sake of Summoner's Choice comparison, yeah, I don't even need to try Herc. Just 100-0 would be the result of that one. Does Warlock need Awakening? It's not necessary. It's a very nice to have ability, specifically for defense. But yeah, Gladiator, man. I wonder what his arena score is going to be like, because people really just don't like him. Again, I want to be perfectly clear. I like Gladiator. I think he's good. I think he is a solid addition to the Cosmic class. But I do agree that there is a lot of overlap in the Cosmic class. But he does bring some new things to the table. He's got a Cold Snap to bypass Evade. He has true damage with the Vigilance, and the Vigilance also bypasses Miss. His damage during the specials and after the specials is unique, but because of how he loses and gains his confidence, it's not as strong as I feel that it could be, especially if you're dealing with an unawakened Gladiator. Yeah. Alright, well, I think I'm going to end it here. Guys, if you could just do me one favor. We're 10 likes away from 69 likes. Can we just hit that real quick? I would really appreciate that. That'd be really cool if we could do that. We've been hanging out. We're all buds. Just, give old Papa MSD a like button. Would be much appreciated. Hey, there we go. You guys are just true gems, honestly. Thank you so much. Alright, well, I am going to call it a day here. I will likely be streaming again tomorrow or Monday, some Thronebreaker EQ. I need to catch up on my free-to-play account. I've already done literally everything on my main account, both the Paragauntlet and the Thronebreaker event quest. I'll have a Paragauntlet video coming out either tomorrow or Monday, so I'll be back streaming either tomorrow or Monday, some Thronebreaker on Fiker Miker, catching up on that, some other shenanigans, who knows. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Three-Legged Stool, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Static, I appreciate the buck you sent over. Much love, buddy. I will see you all again some point next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.